was the sound of a divorce! Turn down for what?
I'm so happy to have this series back. It had been a long 8 months, and every part of my soul wanted to find out what the hell was going on with Blitz. But then this turned out to be a backstory episode that confirmed most of my theories, which is very gratifying. But was it worth the wait? Like, really? Well, that's a question this video is gonna answer. Subscribe to be alerted for the Daddy of all Stolas videos I'm gonna drop later, as this one is just gonna be a review. A very tear-soaked review, and whether they're gonna be mine or yours, we'll find out.
I can do this real fast.
Okay, first off, I really like this thing. Yeah, shocker, I thought the episode was almost fantastic. From the childhood flashbacks to their first booty call, to finally the absolutely divine clapback that was Stolas asking for a divorce, I think this episode hits every beat it wants to, which is funny since they can't drop an entire episode. Yeah, this at least bears mentioning. Episode 8 of Helluva Boss was in fact the finale for the season, but there's supposed to be another episode that came after it. Maybe having to do with Blitz picking up Luna from the Hound Party but getting sucked in? Again, maybe, we're not entirely sure, that could be the next one for all we know. But even though this episode is complete, this 8.5, Fizzy Pop and her team haven't been able to release it because, and this is my one conjecture, legal bullshit. So, a small part of me was worried we'd be missing something once this season started, but no problem whatsoever in the slightest, minus the hiatus, or as Hunter x Hunter fans call it, existing. Picking up right after the events of the last episode, where Stolas threw Blitz under the bus after the King of Lust called him out for ruining his own marriage and family to date an imp, emotionally destroying Blitz, who didn't realize how much he cared even if he asked Stolas here just so that he could get some light stalking in, with this episode taking things a step back to show us the origins of their relationship, which goes way farther back than the night they fucked.
All the way through me, you...
Oh, stop it.
Stolas has had a crush on Blitz since childhood. He was his first friend, and I did not see that one coming. Now, there's 3 sections. We have the far past, when they're both kids, we have the affair, then we have the fallout from the previous night. Now, of these 3 sections, I do think that the childhood is the weakest one. But when I say weakest, I mean it's just an 8. So you can go ahead and delete those comments. I adore Baby Stolas and Blitz. It's super cute, but after the first 5 minutes, I do think the serotonin kind of wore off on me. It's just a weird thing to see these horny angst-ridden adults and now having the toxically sweet child versions. I don't know, it's just weird to see Blitz with actual hope in his eyes. And another thing that kind of builds to my general apathy for this one is that I don't think I needed a Stolas flashback. I always kind of assumed he got basic rich boy problems, and I was 100% right. Check the videos, I called it all of this. From the neglectful daddy that was Paimon to an arranged marriage, everything about why Stolas is the way he is was within range of my expectations. Blitz, yeah, give me that backstory, as this little bundle of issues needs some explaining and context. But the fact that they've known each other since childhood is really interesting. And watching them meet is actually fascinating because it really does set the pattern for their relationship, where Stolas just wants to be with Blitz, who is using him for personal gain at first, till they get attached and things get complicated from there. This is a pattern that they have fallen into, and I think is really interesting that it started this early. And before I say something mean, I do need to mention that the actors for the kids are all doing a fantastic job and are obnoxiously cute. But if I had any complaints about this section besides, I called it, I do think some sections tended to drag a bit too long, like they were really relying on, oh my god, they sound so cute, look at them just do this cute, adorable shit, and I kinda thought they all dragged just a bit too long. Blitzo's joke bombing, that's perfect, but the thrilling extended balloon tales of animal pirates could have been cut in half. It feels like it's only really here because they needed to let us know just how close these two used to be. It's not a massive problem by any means, but because this whole thing takes place in just 10 minutes, every time they have an extended scene like this, I'm just like, okay, 1, 2, another one, it's like, yeah, can we just wrap this up and get to the cute shit? Like, even when the scene is fun, there's always something just better around the corner that I just want them to get to. Because yeah, looting, fun, but it's only when they get under the chandelier do I really get the feels. Because that is an actual moment of beauty, and kid antics aren't that filling. To me at least. This is very much personal taste, as is everything. And I have to say this because my new addiction is Paimon. I know I'm saying that wrong, but that's your problem. I love this man. Who is Stolas' dad was a question I didn't know I needed answered. Because these are demons in hell. You could tell me that these people have always existed and I will believe it, no questions asked. To find out that Stolas is like only in his early 30s is kind of crazy to me. Like, he is super fucking young and I was not expecting that. So to have his dad be here and for him to be one of the best parts is just kind of crazy to me, as he is just the perfect combination of hateable dad traits. The man sits there, not knowing Stolas' name.
Which son is this one? There's so fucking many.
Stolas, your highness.
Stolas, yes, right.
Then has the audacity to call him the Owl Boy. Like, bitch, are you not an owl? Yeah, I saw your transformation. What are you wearing right now, though? And if Stolas is the owl, are his brothers other animals? Are they other birds? Is that the deal? So I'm just like, now I'm super curious about that random fact. But the man has zero interest or knowledge about Stolas, and that is just peak comedy. He makes the butler take Stolas to the circus, where he watches from home rather than deal with his son's crying over his arranged marriage. He buys, like actually buys Blitz, so that he can hang out with Stolas so his dad wouldn't have to. Then at the end of all this neglect, he compliments himself for being a good parent after hitting his son.
I'm so good at daddying.
It's just so conceited that I can't help but enjoy it. I love his design too. Absolutely fucking gorgeous. It's bigger, beefier Stolas, but in Phantom of the Opera getup. While Stolas does look regal, you know, in spite of himself, he's also a twig, so we can get those vulnerable moments when he just feels so small. His dad, on the other hand, is not only thicker, but his regalia gives him a more intimidating presence. This man feels like he's one song away from being a Disney villain, which is kind of true because he is. I love how he's able to be funny and intimidating, and it all contributes to him being just an absolute highlight. I like the backstory, I like the scenes, I love seeing Blitz and Stolas being mistreated by their dads, and how it defines them and how they're trying to break the cycle with their own. Well, that's a topic for another time. This whole part is great for informing us who they are as people, but the actual events themselves, I think, are just pretty good. Weirdly enough, I feel like the best compliment I can give this, it's able to change between different tones on a dime, and it always feels natural, which is something very hard to pull off. Though I may just be thankful that the story didn't go where I thought it was going when Stolas' dad bought Blitz, as I was not down for another slave falling in love with their master story. Not again. This is where I finally started laughing out loud. And this is gonna sound fucked up, but Stella was my favorite part of this episode.
What in hell is this?
Ugh, Stolas, you know I like throwing parties. Plus, it's true, so you can come if you want.
Oh dear, I seem to have spotted a Good day!
Now, I've never thought Stella was a good person. I understand why she would hire an assassin to kill her husband who not only cheated on her, but did so very publicly. But until this episode, we've kind of never seen Stella before the cheating. We got one hint in the second episode, where she rudely told Stolas to go check the kid. That's kind of it. We never knew what she was like before she had all this justifiable anger. But now we've seen her before, and...
What a pathetic fucking man!
No. She's just a bitch. Just the worst person who has made their arranged marriage a living hell. As Stolas now has to listen to her make fun of him, emasculate him, rubbing every personal detail of their non-relationship in his face, and the man just has to take it because he wants to give his daughter the semblance of normalcy. It's so perfect how they make you feel so bad for Stolas while hating Stella, as this just feeds into the climax, which is just chef's kiss. Perfect 10 out of 10 moments. But back to this one. So what we get is Blitz and Stolas banging, and you know, good for them, as this episode very much goes to say, yes, this is less, oh I fucked up, and more petty revenge for Stolas. And it's really funny. I will say though, having a not divorce party instead of an anniversary is hilarious to me, and I would love to throw one of those. You know, ironically and not aggressively like Stella. This is honestly the most fun I have in the entire episode. The kids are cute, but they just can't drop F-bombs the way the adult actors can.
Oh my fuck.
And I know I've said this before in other videos, but are the backgrounds in this show pretty? The Ring of Lust and Aussies are fantastic settings, but every time we go back to Stolas' house, it just gets better and better looking. From the regal architecture to these stained glass windows, every one of these shots is beautiful on its own, and I don't think the artists behind them get enough credit. So here, appreciate them. Like, the show is semi-independently produced, and it looks great. Early on in the show's history, there are always like small moments where you can tell the quality is dropping. Characters would stutter a little bit as they probably just didn't have enough time to get some of those in-between frames. But I don't have anything really to complain about here. It's nearly rock solid, and if they had put this on Netflix, I would not have questioned it. It's just a testament to how great the quality for this show is. But back to the main story. This is the infamous one-night stand. Blitzo broke in trying to steal the book, which he remembered from his childhood. Stolas, in his romantic head, assumed he had to be here for me, with Blitz going along with it just so that he could steal the book, before giving in and giving Stolas a quickie that lasted all night, which explains so much about these two. From Blitz having to act aggressive to get the book, while Stolas is kind of in his own head not fully understanding the situation, with Blitz lacking the context to fully understand it. Which leads to his later offer of sex feeling less like a thing he wants, but now feels like something that he thinks they both want, with Stolas initiating the situation while thinking that Blitz is. I love these two dumpster fires, and it's just so on brand for them. But the piece de resistance has to be this.
What the fuck was that, Stolas?
That was the sound of a fucking divorce!
The revenge, it's just so cathartic. It takes what was just a funny moment in the pilot and makes it a moment of triumph. For finally fighting back against his shitty wife, it's just amazing. This whole middle part is a blast, but it's in the past. Let's go back to the current timeline, shall we? That's better.
Raise your voice, you have no choice in...
Oh, fuck me. Okay. In the aftermath of Blitz leaving Stolas, the man wakes up hungover from drinking those bad feelings away, his medicated happy pills are no longer working, and decides to start singing. Now, we've heard Stolas sing before, in an episode I didn't review, and thank Satan I didn't, because my opinion kinda hasn't changed. I don't think Bryce Pinkman is a great singer. I like the songs, I really do, and the emotions of these scenes make me almost tear up when I'm pretending. But I do think the show is doing itself and Bryce a disservice by giving all their solo ballads to what feels like their weakest link.
Like sparks in the dark, life was suddenly thrilling and new.
And like sparks in the dark, life was suddenly thrilling and new.
And new.
And new.
The man isn't bad, but all of Stolas' songs are meant to be these powerful solo pieces where all the emphasis is on his voice, with the music just being there to support him. James Monroe Iglehart, as Osmodius, is a better singer. I don't think that's a controversial statement.
Come on, sing us a song.
The man is killing it, with another Broadway singer backing him up. Not to mention the music for The House of Lust has such a great energy that it enhances an already great performance. He could be a weaker singer, and this music would still make the song a banger. Just like how in Moana, The Rock can't fucking sing, but they know that. So the music goes off and just lets him have fun speed talking on beat to make up for that. Stolas is a better singer than The Rock, but these ballads put all the pressure on him to nail this out of the park, and every time he sings, I just think he's just good. He'll get on bass, it's serviceable, but the lyrics are great. The emotion and direction are always great. It always leads to good moments. But every time we get a Stolas number, I feel like this man is struggling. And don't use the excuse that he has to try and act like he's cry singing. There are just certain songs you can tell they're written for a vocal powerhouse. And while he's not bombing, he's not crushing it either. You're not wrong to get swept up in the emotions of all these moments. They're good moments, but I just kind of feel like he's just hitting the notes a lot of the time. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe, like, I'm not musically trained, yada yada yada, excuse, but that's a vibe I've always gotten. I've never been blown away by any of these numbers. Yes, I do realize I sound like the internet's version of Amber Heard over here.
It's annoying to hear you screeching your silly woes all the time.
Besides the singing, the rest of the episode is great. Stolas finally puts his foot down and stops passively taking his wife's shit, confronting her and just asking the real question of, why are you still here? She hates him. She won't shut up about how much she hates him, yet still insists on spending 5 days out of the week here, making him miserable.
I like tormenting you. I want to keep reminding you of what you did.
Stolas is not taking it, which I love. It's what everything in this episode has been building up to. We've seen how he was forced into this relationship, how Stella has never respected nor cared for him. And this is where the man finally says, enough. He's done with this toxic relationship. Damn the consequences. He's got enough to deal with without this vulture pecking at him. He's done with his family bullying him. This man is just fed up, and it's amazing. It elevates the entire episode and brings home all of those flashbacks. Because this is the thing you have to keep in mind. It's cute to see the origins of Stolas, but that's not what this episode has been about. It's been about Stolas, about his family mistreating him, how he's been forced into this job, this marriage, and just every situation after situation. He desperately tries to make the best of things, taking the abuse from Stella, saving face for the family as his peers laugh at him. The man is desperate for love, for relief from all of this shittiness. But even banging Blitz didn't fix his real problems. It's always just a temporary respite, which is why it's here. After thinking he's lost Blitz, does the man finally say fuck it and demands a divorce from Stella to get this toxic person out of his house, his life, because his family is the root of all of his problems, and it's time he stopped pretending. Overall, I really like this episode. It's a great first episode for the season. While I would have liked to see more of what happened after the last episode, the backstory does lead to a great conclusion, while also setting up a lot of future ideas to explore on top of making us re-examine the characters we've already seen. Blitzo and Fizz used to be best friends, now they hate each other. With Blitz having his own piece of shit dad they both had to deal with, it makes Fizz's current situation all the darker as Blitz's old man was perfectly okay selling him for the right price. If Mammon was a demon who actually ended up paying it, maybe those cyborg enhancements Fizz is rocking have a way darker origins than we expected. Also, Barbie Wire, Blitz's sister, was here, and his mom might be sick. We're definitely going to be learning a lot more about Blitz's past, the Goetia family, and this is all set up here. I think this is a solid episode. Not perfect, I don't think it's like amazing by any means. This may not have been a top tier episode for me, but it did its job and left me hungry for more. It looked beautiful, told a great story, and sets up the rest of the season while making sure no one is too happy, which is just great. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go write a 10-page thesis on Stolas.